Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How are you, Jan? I don't think we've met.
I think you were on one call. Maybe you came on one call with one of these Thursday calls. I'm not sure, but
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's
nice
fine.
to see both of you. I've seen your names.
Yeah, I'm Ned, and this is Kelly, my wife. Yeah, so we'll be
And
filling
both
in
of you.
for Monika today. She's not feeling well.
Yeah,
Oh,
Monique
I'm
Yeah.
sorry to hear that.
sick,
Yeah.
so she asked us to take this over today.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I see some familiar faces, Jen and Gloria. Hey guys. And Corinne, we have not met you yet, I don't think. Hello, hello.
And we have Corinne.
Corinne, it looks
Corinne.
like.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm not gonna be talking. I just had surgery, so I'm a
Oh,
bit
okay.
off.
Okay, no problem.
All right. Well, it's
Yeah.
nice to meet you. I haven't seen you. I don't think.
Nice
before.
to meet you.
Okay. All right. So
Who wants to go first?
it looks like
today?
Jan is up and bubbly and alive. Let's talk with Jan, see how she's doing.
I don't know about bubbly and alive, but I'm the one who has my screen on, so I have an advantage.
Okay, awesome.
I don't know if you got the jot forms or maybe those went to Monika.
They did, and we haven't had a chance because it
was really last minute.
This was really last minute.
No worries. I just wasn't going to repeat if you had already looked at them. Yeah, what I said in my well, let me start with a celebration, and then I'll summarize my jot form. Let's see. I think a celebration that I'm feeling after a bunch of journaling this morning is I'm starting to tilt more and more towards the hopeful and less towards the whatever you call that feeling of possible defeat or the other shoe falling or any of that fear.
Yeah.
And just more regularly, not just from time to time, but more regularly feeling hopeful. And I'm just in I don't really have a strong need. I think I rated myself a 3 on a need for coaching today, mostly because I feel like I'm just in this period of steady practice.
It's good.
Nice.
It's daily. It's each time Bob and I see each other. I'm going to see him this weekend. Mm-hmm. We're in what I've come to call a therapeutic separation. I used to call it a retreat separation, but apparently that's a good term too, therapeutic separation, for about 9 or 10 months. And we're finding our way. Bob started the program maybe a month ago.
Nice.
That was a celebration. And I'm just steadily working it. I was so ready for this program that a lot of the rupture and traumatic feelings had already happened.
Okay.
When I came into the program. Awesome. And so I'm feeling grateful to have found this. I'm grateful for the readiness I was to change. I'm grateful for some of the insights that I've been getting about things that I hadn't been able to quite put my finger on related to emotional connection and early childhood. Having come from a relatively healthy family, unlike a lot of people, it was a little harder to put my finger on things, but I've had some really helpful insights around that, particularly with my mom. So steady work and a lot of gratitude. The last thing I'll say is that I have some nervousness, but also I'm feeling more ready for when Bob gets more up to chapters, or sessions, or whatever we call it, phases 4 to 5. When I look forward to some more active coaching as we move from where we are now, which is more in our own lane, doing our own work, building goodwill and connection and more into where I do have some nervousness, which is what do we do with the old story and some of the things that were real in the old story for both of us, and move with these tools and skills forward. But that's probably a month or two down the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the good thing is you know that, and you're being the work, right? Like you're in practice and you're being the work, and that's why you're getting the results. It's why you're feeling more and more hopefulness and less hopelessness.
Yes.
And one of the key things that I heard you say that's so important for everyone is like, you were really ready for change. You were ready to change. You were really ready to look at yourself and dive deep. And that's really what's required in this work, because once you start doing this, you never stop. You know, you just want to go deeper and deeper, you know, so congratulations.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
It's really awesome.
you'll learn, you know, you'll learn how to get rid of the old narratives and usher in the new ones. And it just takes repetition and practice and putting things into practice in motion, just like you're doing now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
like Kelly said, the most important thing here, two things was your readiness and your commitment.
Yeah.
Your steadiness in the active and daily practice is the most important thing, because that's what allows you to move from who you are and merge yourself with the new identity of who you need to become to actively work with your husband. And it's equally as important that he join the program too, and is going to be able to match you in that skill set. So your trepidation and some of your worry and fears will actually begin to, you know, they'll fall off, because you're gonna see that by the time you get to that place where you are dealing with one another, you're gonna feel very differently, and your energy is gonna be very different. Okay.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I can see some of that already, even though we're being very careful and cautious, you know, in our own lanes. I can feel that, and I can sense how we both are excited to see each other. Which is a different place to be. So.
In the beginning, the practice is really trying to stay focused. It takes a lot of energy to stay in your lane. It takes a lot of energy to stay away from the old stories and the old patterns. It takes a lot of energy. So as you, like I said, as you practice and you habituate yourself to the skills, all of that starts to go away too, because you're actually doing it and you're living it, and it's who you are now, you know, and you're being it. So in the beginning, it is very toiling and taxing, and it's exhaustive.
Yeah. Well, and I can feel that, you know, one of the muscles that feels stronger is the one that keeps me focused forward rather than backwards. Because even in the beginning, when I was doing the deeper dive in those first couple of lessons, I had such a strong voice of, yeah, but what about? You know, like, yeah, but what about his? Yeah, but, you know, just all that sort of pull back to the drama of the old story. And it's just so interesting. It's just less interest. It's not that it isn't there. It's just I'm less interested in it, so that when it comes up, it's like, you know. So I know that there's some potential rapids ahead, but right now this is kind of a steady river.
Yeah.
The key, like you said, is you continue to do the work, and you be steady, and the course will remain steady. Like you said, it doesn't mean that there aren't going to be any rapids. You know? That you deal with. They do come, you know, but you'll be ready for them, you know. You'll be ready for them.
That's right. A more skillful canoeer. We'll keep that metaphor going.
Yes.
Well,
they
thank
will
you.
But you'll know how to navigate them, right?
Yeah.
So congratulations, you're doing really, really well. I'm glad to hear your progress. And
I'm very grateful for this program and for my readiness for it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. All right.
So
who's going next? Corinne's not going to talk.
No, she's listening.
Can I say congratulations to Janet?
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome.
I didn't see you.
Hold on, let me put a view so we can.
Oh,
I'm not on view, but anyway.
There we go. There, that's better. Okay.
we're in the middle of a project, but Janet, I so completely empathize, sympathize, so hear you, because if you're doing it on your own and you have hope and you see the other person isn't traveling along quite as fast as you, it's easy to point fingers. You guys know that, right? I haven't done any finger pointing in this program. But like Kelly and Ned said, just stay in your lane, just stay in your lane, just do what you got to do. And if it works, it's magic. If it doesn't, it's a relief.
Yeah. You're doing a really good job. It's awesome.
Thank you, Mary. Thumbs up. I don't know if you can see the screen, but I just gave you a big thumbs up.
Does anyone else have anything to say to Miss Jan?
Thumbs up,
Thumbs
Marlene. Awesome.
All right. So,
Hey, Mark. Thumbs up.
Hey, Mark.
Awesome. Very good.
So who wants to go next? Again, we're covering for Monika today. She's not feeling well. She sounds
It's
terrible.
still last minute. We did, the interesting thing is we did look at Monday's call.
Yeah.
And
it was a good call.
it was a really good call. We, Marlene, it was really, really good. A lot of different insights from that everyone was really good, and a lot of support too. It was really powerful.
There's
really
Jenny.
powerful.
Hey, Jenny.
Hi, Jenny.
So yeah, we're covering for Monika today. We haven't had a chance to see any of the job forms. So for each of you who talk today and share and have questions, you'll just have to refresh us on what you shared on the job form.
Right. And if anyone is short,
on time,
we want to go ahead and make sure we address your need first. Is there anyone? No. Okay. So we can keep it moving. And is there anyone who wants to throw their hand up and just jump out here and celebrate and give us some questions?
I'll go first because I'm really fast today.
Okay. Awesome.
I got up really early this morning because it's been 111 outside every day, and I needed to get some weeds pulled. And so I got up super early, the dog and I listened to my meditation music while I was weeding. Weird concept, but different, Yeah. Something totally different in the realm. And I realized I'm really at peace. I'm really calm. I don't have any bitches and complaints. And it's kind of scary in a way, My other coach that I have with emotional transformation, he would say, you're in the vortex.
Yeah.
And I think I like it here. I'm just going to stay here,
Yeah.
I'm still doing my stuff, still journaling, but just like Janet said, it's weird because I don't really have anything to complain about,
Yeah.
And I'm in just a happy place. So that's.
And I can say this, Marlene. Kelly and I have been in the vortex many, many times and enjoy it. When you are in it and you recognize it, really sit in it and really enjoy it, because because it comes from what you've been doing in terms of the work and your steadiness in actively putting your skills and your exercises, your daily exercises into action every day. It is why you find yourself at peace. It is why you are and you said something that I think a lot of people, as they find themselves in the vortex, the fear is that I'm going to fall back into some old pattern, or I'm going to revert back to these emotions and these feelings that I had before. And it's not going to happen. You will never be that person ever again.
I totally feel that too.
You will never ever be that person. Okay. Because your mindfulness, it was what Jan said. The vision and her alignment with her vision is the thing where she begins to understand that she has no time. All these other things are they're trivial.
Mm-hmm.
They become really trivial. Even the little things we used to argue about, all these feelings and the negative emotions, they're trivial. They just become very trivial. You don't even have time for them. You don't want to even feel. You don't want to associate with them. You don't want any aspects of them. You don't want any part of it.
Right.
So you never have to worry about being that person ever again. So as long as you keep your eye forward and you continue your expansion and you continue to discover yourself, you'll always continue to feel the way that you feel, and you will find yourself in the vortex more often than not.
Yeah.
One of his things that he wanted us to do yesterday was write some of our fears. And I got to thinking about that last night, and then I woke up this morning thinking about it too, and I was like, okay. And then I got my book out and started journaling, and I'm like, holy crap, I really don't have a lot of fears. You know, the fears that I really had were fears that I had in the past.
Yeah.
You know, not to say that they're not still lingering a little bit, but they're not the intensity that they were before.
Yeah.
So,
and it was kind of like what we, you know, when I've talked to, when I forgot which client, I don't want to say anybody, but
yeah.
we talked about facing your fears.
Mm-hmm.
And where most of people's anxiety and the really negative emotions that kick up for a lot of people comes from the inability to actually face your fears, right? So that's the thing that perpetuates the emotions of negativity and anxiety. And most people, you're not aware of it, right? You're like, as long as I can push this feeling down and I don't have to deal with it, I won't have to deal with it. It doesn't work that way, right? So it's underlying, and it becomes, you know, Kelly and I we always try to connect with people in terms of like giving them an analogy so that they can connect with who they're being that may be contributing to any negative force or dynamic in the relationship. So oftentimes I talk about a stage for most people. They're on a stage. We're our representative, or the actor that we choose to be when we choose to go, I don't want to look at and deal with this emotion, right? So that means I have to become, because I'm not dealing in truth.
Yeah.
That means I have to become my own actor so that I don't deal with that aspect and part of myself. So what we start to do is, when we move into this representative, that becomes a representative who speaks for us, thinking we're laying our fears, but we become that person who embodies what we don't want to deal with. So this is who we're showing up, dealing with our partners. So we are acting from a triggered place subconsciously, which is obviously going to become a trigger to our partner, who, if they're in an unhealthy space also. So the dance is what you begin to create, and that perpetuates what you don't want to create, because you're not dealing with the reality of who you are and your emotions. So it's only when we face our fears and our emotions that the energy behind them starts to diminish, and we do it daily until the point where it no longer is a factor. Right. So that's why I said you will never become that person again, because you're facing the thing that kept you perpetually in a place where you could only have a negative side. You can only see through a negative lens. You can only see through a lens of anxiety and trepidation. That's no longer. Now you wake up and you look forward to the simplicity of a day and the calmness and the peace within yourself that you find when you meditate and you pick flowers in the morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a trip to even comprehend that you could, you know, I honestly, 3 months ago, I would have never thought that I would be in this place.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Don't get me wrong. I have a lot going on in my world, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's magical. It's weird.
It is. Yeah.
You know?
And it goes back to that old saying, you know, the only control we have is over our responses to our environment.
Yeah.
Okay, and so if you can create peace in the world of chaos, why not create peace in the world of chaos? It's what I want.
Right.
What,
You know?
what were you gonna say, Marlene?
I was gonna say, and what you posted, fear or love over fear is really so true, you know.
Yeah.
Just focus on that. I mean, love for the world, love for ourselves every day, love for anybody that we know, you know, that they have that. I think that's, like I said, it's all magical, you know.
Yeah. You become the embodiment of what you want to experience in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you guys.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing. We love you.
We love you, Marlene.
Yeah. Keep it up. How's Chuck doing? I haven't seen him a couple times. I know
He'll be on the call tomorrow. He's coming back over to the east side, and today he's driving over to bring all of his stuff to move back home. So
and spicy.
yeah, I'm you know, because if it would have been like even a month ago or a couple weeks ago, I was having a little bit of anxiety, you know. I told Monika that I don't know if I was ready for that, but honestly, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like you know, like
what it is, and
like
if
we were telling Jan, like we said to Jan, now you have the tools to deal with the rest, you know.
That's some really harsh words there, but you know, I'm okay with it, you know, and I've said this for the last couple months. If it doesn't work, it's meant to be, and I don't have control over everything in my world. I only have control over me. So
there you go.
And if it doesn't, I can say later. But it's gonna work because this is what I wanted from day one, you know. So
it's why you've done all this work, and it's why
my intention was to stay married and to be happy, and that was my intention from the day that the world turned upside down. So it's okay, you know.
Well, as long as that's your vision, Marlene,
you've done it. You created it.
You continue to move towards it. It is what you will have.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So congratulations, you're doing awesome.
Thank you. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yep, we'll see you tomorrow.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Hey, Marlene, it's Mary. I don't know if the camera's on or not. I'm listening to Jan, and I'm thinking, yep. We think in our denial and in our fear, we think that anybody that has that kind of happiness is in la la land. Like it's not possible. Yeah. Like they're on weed or something, you know. Yeah. But once you get little bits and pieces and taste of it, and you're like, oh wait, this can be real. Oh my gosh, I'm getting goosebumps. This could be fun. And it's not fake. It's not fake. You've reached a point of enlightenment that you can enjoy nothing. And you know, you can enjoy it. You can just enjoy. Yep. And it's a wonderful place to be. Congratulations.
Thank you. Mary, have you been in this place recently?
Sometime when there's time, I'll share a dream that I had that put me in the place. And when I fall out of the place, I go back to my dream.
Ooh, that sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
Arlene, it's Jenny. I just wanted to say, like, I am just so touched and inspired by you right now. I can literally feel the peace inside of you. Yeah. And the contrast is just huge from just the woman that I met, you know, in this group a few months ago. So you're inspiring me totally. And yeah, thank you for just modeling the work.
Thank you. It is beautiful to be here. Believe me, it's been a lot of tears and a lot of hard work, but definitely I would have never believed that I would have gotten here where I am today. You know, I shouldn't say I wouldn't have believed it. I wouldn't have believed that I felt this way and have grown where I am myself, you know.
In such a short period of time too.
Yeah, actually, I mean, considering, like we've all talked about, I've been to a zillion counselors in my life, you know, and marriage counselors and personal counselors and coaches and all that, and not gotten shit. But I can't say that I haven't gotten anything, but I wasn't ready to receive, probably. Like Jan said, you know, you have to be in that happy place where you're ready to do it. And
Yeah, you're ready to change. You're really ready to look at yourself.
yeah, and you're just so done with the way that your life has been, you know, and I don't want another second of that, you know. And so it allows you, I think, really to be open, fully open to accept, you know, whatever the universe is bringing to us in a happy place, you know. And it could be your God or whatever. I don't know that, you know. I'm just saying that whatever we're supposed to receive, we do in a happy way. So, in a healthy way too, you know. So to our whole being.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, because as women, we all know that we struggle and say, oh, I'm going to go on this diet and I'm going to go on that diet. There is no perfect diet. You know, it's all about our happy self and where we are in our place, you know. Know that we were created to be just who we are, you know.
Yeah.
So.
And I think another thing that stands out for me when I think about your story, you know, it was you who kind of really took charge. And that's the other thing I want people to understand on here too. You know, the metaphor that I give when I talk about, you know, two actors on the stage, I also say that, you know, nothing changes until somebody's ready to step off the stage. It takes one person to step down and look at themselves and be vulnerable and open and
tell the truth.
You know, let's put up the props and the script, and let's create from an organic place of humility, vulnerability, and just being really real with yourself. And for me, when I listen to your story, that's what I see. You know, that was your commitment, that was your readiness, and you've stuck to it.
Yeah, and the bottom line is you're only cheating and lying to yourself. Nobody else gives a rip. You know what I'm saying? In the end, that's the way it is. So again, I'm off. I love you guys. I'm gonna stay on, but I'm done.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marlene. Yeah. Thank you so much. Did anyone else want to add anything for Marlene before we?
Yeah, this is Mark. You know, I guess what's so neat about, you know, the whole group is, you know, is that we all inspire each other, and just seeing, you know, all the women in here working so hard, and you can see the guys that are in there and how it's inspired them to come out too. And we had a very moving Monday, as you saw in that thing. And there was a lot of feelings and truths coming out, and inner child stuff, and it was absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, it gets there and it comes. It feels better.
Yeah.
So good job, Marlene. Awesome.
Thanks, Mark.
So I'll go next if you want, if not somebody.
Yeah, sure. Let's go for it. Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay. Yeah, we were on Mondays and touched on Mondays a little bit, and then we were just swamped. We had company last weekend, and we had 11 people at our house. And then, unlike Marlene, we're nice. It's warm here, but not that much. But I think we got between 4 and 7 inches of rain here the other day, so we're swimming. So it's nuts. And as long as I don't have to pay lakefront property on my property, that's fine, because that's how much flooding it was. It is absolutely crazy. Nuts. But yeah, I mean, so Mary, I got a question for you. If you did chapter 11 in that exercise, I was all right with most of that exercise, except for the one where you sit, or the one you face one another in breathing. That's pretty easy. The side by side thing, I couldn't feel Mary breathing that much. But my question is, does your subconscious take over and feel something that you really can't feel, but your subconscious takes over and you feel your partner breathing? You understand what I'm saying?
No,
No.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Oh, on that exercise where you sit side by side and you put your hand on the person's back and you feel them breathe.
Yeah.
I couldn't feel Mary breathe that much. But she could feel me. I don't know if she felt my shirt expand and contract, or she felt my lungs.
Where were you in the moment that you were actually, what were you doing when you had your hands on her back that you couldn't? What were you thinking?
I don't know. We were supposed to sit side by side,
Okay.
Put one hand on her back, and she put one hand on my back, and you're supposed to breathe and try to get in sync with your partner. But
Yeah.
I couldn't feel her breathing. A little bit I could with her shirt.
Yeah.
But my question was, in that thing, can you subconsciously unite with somebody? Maybe you're not familiar, but there are certain people that were able to bilocate and appear to other people from a different location. Is there some way that you mystically that happens subconsciously? You get that united with somebody, i.e. twins, right? Twins have a lot of
Yeah.
things happen like that. So that's my question with that breathing thing.
Yeah, the subconscious always will kick in, because it's just such a big part of us. But I think that if you couldn't feel her that time, I just say keep practicing, keep trying it.
Yeah.
Because eventually you'll be able to sync up.
And the other thing is, Mark, it sounds to me, do you do any meditation?
Yeah, I do music meditations, not meditations where I don't listen to anything and I create my own meditation. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what I'm hearing though is, like, when I think about you and that exercise and your inability to actually connect with Mary and feel her breathing and connect and kind of breathe with her, it sounds like you're a lot in your head. Like there's a lot of chatter maybe around the experience of it, where you're trying to experience it rather than relaxing yourself into the experience.
That could be because I'm gonna say, I wasn't saying nervous, but I was in so anticipation of that exercise of trying to do it that maybe it was a block.
You may have created an expectation.
Yeah.
On the expectation of what you wanted, and you're just like, oh, I'm not getting that, and then you get into a mind spin. Right. So you remove yourself mentally from the exercise of just being able to relax and connect and breathe with Mary and just think about her heart rate and everything, where you can actually
right. Yeah, like I know when we snuggle and I feel her breathing, and I'm like, holy cat, she does a lot of respirations in a minute compared to me. And then when I'm getting my Medicare workup right now, and they put me on an EKG, and she says, geez, your heart rate's 50. She says, you got a low heart rate. I said, well, I'm a pretty cool guy,
Yeah.
I don't, it takes an act of God to get me wild up,
I was God.
I said that just for her.
No, he didn't.
So anyway, it was, I'm just saying, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, just keep trying. Just keep trying to exercise, but try to really relax and just don't think about much. Just really concentrate on breathing yourself, okay? Right. And get yourself in that rhythm, and then maybe you'll be able to connect with Mary with her breathing. When you can a lot of things that I really understand in terms of like connecting really comes with our partners, really starts with being able to connect with ourselves.
Yeah.
This is right. And once I figured that out, that's what allowed me and gave me the ability to actually think about how important it is that whenever Kelly and I would have a challenge, and we were in a place, and because we've been doing this for so long, we would have, the first thing I would go to is, okay, what's going on with me? Why am I so riled up by this? Why am I so excited? Why is this triggering me the way that it's doing?
Right.
And for a long time though, it was always about her, right? And that was always a problem. That just created more problems. So it was only when I really learned to become introspective first, always, that alleviates so much crap, right? Because it's like, I think you're learning, I hear you talk about this a lot, where you just like, you're dealing with your stuff. And when you're dealing with your stuff and your partner's doing the same thing, the only thing that leaves room for is connection, right? It's just a greater connection. And that's what we're talking about when, in terms of like connecting with yourself first, and then being able to really connect with your partner. Is like getting yourself in that calm space so that you can allow that energy and that flow between the two of you. And when both of you are doing that, that's the energetic connection that I always get from Kelly, right? But if I'm thinking just about her, right, or I make anything about her in the way of an experience that, you know, I'm not enjoying, it never results in terms of us actually resolving and moving closer to each other. It usually creates a wall, right? Because it doesn't give her the capacity in the room to just deal with her own stuff. If it's almost like I invade her area, her space, and she has to deal with my energy rather than just dealing with hers. Yeah. So it's by me staying, like, I think, like Mary says all the time, by staying in your lane, you know, and you doing the same thing. It's just like, that's the thing that draws us together, ultimately, connects us, you know? So for you, the breathing exercise, I would really focus on yourself and really think about your heart rate and your breathing. Really get into that space when you're doing the exercise.
First.
Yeah.
And then,
you know?
Yeah. And I was just so dang tired. I don't know. We didn't get to bed till 1 o'clock in the morning. I was up at 5 o'clock to go to work. So it's just like, then I rushed home and you know, we worked on the exercise a little bit. And, because I think we were supposed to graduate today, but if we don't graduate today, it'll probably next Thursday, when Monika comes back. So, but I just, yeah, the transformation's just amazing. And people like Gloria and her husband, they just got to have patience, you know. Anybody can quit. I mean, there's good reasons to quit, and there's bad reasons to quit, but you got to give things a chance.
Yeah.
And you know, it's great. I mean, it's work. It works. You can see the people in the group how it's worked, and and people really close to the brink of being done.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, it's cool. Everything's really good. So
where's Mary?
Let's see. I don't know. One of her friends just showed up, or maybe we're at our other house right now. Oh, must be the neighbors. And she's got guests coming here for races for Elkhart Lake Road America. So, you know, anytime you get too hot down there to Atlanta, you know, just jump in your car and come up for a week, you know, get cool off.
Okay.
Seriously, all you guys, you know.
What's the temperature there now, right now, Mark?
About 78. Yeah, it's not 110, it's 78. Last night, while we were watching the Bucks game, which was a horribly officiated game. Oh my God. It's horribly officiated. We won, but it was pretty bad. And I don't even watch basketball that much. And seriously, the last time they did anything was 1971. I was a freshman in high school. So that gives you a little idea. But it just poured here. The skies just opened up. Now my daughter is here from Houston. That's Houston's rain all the time. They get rain like that.
Oh yeah.
All the time. But not here. They got sandy soil. We've got clay, so it holds in there. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's great. It cools off at night normally, and you know, it's just nice.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll go see if Mary wants to add anything, or she's got guests coming. She's trying to get stuff straightened away. Oh, it was a runaway dog, I guess.
Okay.
That somebody was trying to get. Oh, they got it. Okay, here we go.
I always like to make sure I want to hear
Okay.
Mary.
It's you. They want you. Here.
What'd I do? What'd I do? What?
You didn't do anything. Mark was just sharing, and it was, I always like to hear from.
Oh, hold on, just a sec. What? Just no. I'm sorry. I can't do it right now.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll come back to her.
All right.
When
Thanks
she-
a lot. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
All righty. So who wants to go next? Hey, Jen.
Hello.
How are you?
Hey,
Kelly will be back in a second. She just went to the restroom.
no problem.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. Just glad to be hanging on here. Glad that I had to postpone my graduation. You can do anything you need to make that happen again and again and again. I don't want to graduate. So
You don't want to graduate?
no.
Oh, you mean here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to figure out what to do because I feel like I'm not ready to be without support that I have gained. So, or, that I'm relying on. So I got to figure out what to do there.
Well, I mean, but I think I did watch the Monday call, like I said, and I did. Monika did mention that the transition is not just right away. It's not like you're just going to disappear right away. There's a process to actually transitioning over to the graduate group, right?
Yeah, well, I feel
And,
like
and what we will do is, though, we will try to do is, so that you feel supported. Once you move over there, we will try to, join over in the group a little more often also. Okay? If that'll make you feel any better.
yeah. Well, I mean, I may continue if I can clarify the details of how to her options with that, but
Yeah.
because anyway, I haven't felt that there was that many people that could reach me.
Right. I know you mentioned,
life,
Malcolm, you kind of made a connection with Malcolm on Monday where.
Well, I was trying to, because and I was going to ask you the same, like if there was things you had advised him that might be things that would help me, because he thinks that we're similar based on hearing me. And I wouldn't have known that. I've just been trying to ask questions and get a better idea of what's going on there. But
the biggest thing.
I get the impression that he causes a lot of distress to his wife, and I don't want to be that to anyone. So I need to know what that distress looks like and not, and be aware not to do that. And he sounds like he's a little further along in the recognition of what he does that's problematic and recognizing that. And I'm still feeling kind of not there.
Well, I think, and I don't really like to talk without the person here, but
I know, I'm sorry. He was there before.
No, it's not that. It's just, but part of what I recall on the conversation on Monday was some theme around control. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, and in terms of like really working with yourself around that, and I heard you talk about, it won't. Have you heard or gone through the list of losing strategies?
Yes.
Okay.
I could probably.
And so when I listened to you on Monday, one of your losing strategies, what it sounded like to me was your need to be right. Okay?
Yes. My husband and I both have that. We both have that.
So, but but like Monika said, it's when we can't let go of our attachment to an outcome, because that's the controlling part of it, right? If we can't let go of that, where are you going to go? What are you going to get to? If both of you are like that, how are you ultimately going to be able to change anything? Someone has to let go, right? And allow for transition, at least. You can always renegotiate, but I'm saying you have to get into a place where you can keep everything continuously moving. If both of you are adamant about who's right and who's wrong, you can have that argument all day.
Well, that's what we did. That's what we did. Always.
Yeah. So I'm saying, so someone has to be willing to release control. And I get it. There has to be some trust like we also discussed on Monday, or I heard you guys discuss on Monday, in order for you to feel like you can let go, right? Because you also mentioned that there are many balls on the floor, right? And they were left there. And
Yeah.
I'm not accustomed to just leaving the balls on the floor. I like to pick the balls up. They need to be put away, right?
Yeah.
And that's where you found yourself. So it wasn't that you were actually taking control, right? Because like
Right.
Monika said, it was when
I
you
call it being responsible. That's what I
Right,
call it.
right. So
The
you
control word
would
sounds bad. Responsible sounds good to me, and I feel like I'm a responsible person to make sure that
right.
everything
So
gets
when you did that though, the response from your husband was not appreciative. It wasn't that he looked at you as taking care of something and taking a load off of his back. It was like, oh, you took this away from me, right? And he wanted influence and wanted to tell you how to do it. And that's where I think the combativeness in that dynamic would often happen, right? Because you're just doing what you assume you need to do. And then when you would do it, he would challenge you on how you're doing it. And you're just like, well, you never picked them up. I picked them up, right? And then you even said that you have the better ideas usually, because you probably.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying in general, I don't advocate for an idea unless I believe that it's, like it's better for all of us, not just better for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not like everything is like what's best for Jen.
Yeah.
It's what does Jen think is best for everyone.
Right.
But it's still my thoughts, my perspective, I guess, that I prioritize. Yes, because
Well,
I don't know how to have someone else's perspective. I only have mine, and then if what they're sharing doesn't convince me that mine needs to change, then I just think they're wrong.
Right. So
Yeah.
that when you say Malcolm is you feel like he's a little further than you.
Yeah, because he understands that it's problematic.
Right. But Malcolm probably learn how to let go of that part of the narrative that you're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the aspect of, when you have the convincing phase of that I'm right. I did all this research. I'm right. There really is no right and wrong, right? There's just your way to do things and someone else's. There could be a better way. There may not be a better way. But the idea is that you have to share in the responses. People want to feel valuable in the relationship. They want to have a voice and say. And if the argument is just who's right and who's wrong, and you don't allow your partner to have their experience with you and have some say in some choice, that's going to breed some resentment.
Right.
I know. So rather than have to settle for things that are not ideal, is there a way to be able to share with each other and feel like you're valued, but still do the thing that is best, that most rational people, I guess, would see as the better thing to do?
Okay.
Without making it a power struggle, being like, okay, I hear what you're saying, and
Jen, do this for me.
Something like that, word games that you can do to people hear differently.
Okay, do this for me.
Negotiate.
Give me an example of a thing where.
Give you an example.
Give me an example where you were definitively right and made the better choice, and you couldn't deal with your husband's choice at all. It was just.
Okay.
Crazy. It was whack.
Okay. Well, this is current. My mind is on a current thing we're butting heads about, and that is about deciding on schooling for my son.
Okay.
And the main reason that we're even discussing it is because I recognize that my son is not happy where he's going to school, because it's a special needs school where my other son goes, and it was never meant to be a long-term thing. He doesn't have relationships there very well, like friendships.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to go because it's just like doing work. So we live in a nice neighborhood that's districted for a school right down the street that is an excellent school. It's just a public school, but my husband has a severe hatred for government institutions of any kind, and anything other than him indoctrinating our kids. So just having them at any school is, kind of goes against his being. Okay. So, but he's agreed to have them go where they're going because, whatever, we've been doing that. And you know, they're the lesser of evils, at least where he's at. But he recognizes that Corbin needs more social, you know, more social friendships and things like that in his life. So my thought was maybe he could go to the school in the neighborhood. And by doing so, there are kids in the neighborhood he has met, but he's not able to have those friendships very much because most of their day is spent in school, and then they get home from school and they have little things that they do. And anyway, most of the things he does socially are because mom or dad has coordinated it with either a cousin or with our friends and their kids and whatnot. And so for, you know, normal Monday through Friday, when he gets home from school, there's all these kids in the neighborhood he could be playing with if he just like had that relationship. So my suggestion was go to that school, you ride the bus with them, you learn, you know, you get to know them, and those are more meaningful than going to school is a, you know, more meaningful part of his life, and he will look forward to it rather, you know, for the social aspect, you know, that it offers. And so that's what I proposed to consider. Now my husband turns it into a power struggle of my house being like his home and his house being his home because he wants his house to be his home. So then he's like, well, why am I going to put him in a school that's close to your house? Because that, you know, it should be a house or some school that's between our houses. And I'm like, well, that doesn't accomplish anything because then they don't have friends in the neighborhood at either of our houses then, you know what I mean? It's not about like plopping him in a school where he can develop friendships the same as he has now. And then those friendships require us to coordinate with parents that we don't know and don't interact with. And you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. The school he's at is not the problem. It's the convenience of friends and peers, accessibility of friends and peers and that kind of thing. So anyway, so that's the argument we're having, and I can't get him to see the whole point of me even raising it because he's got to turn it into a, you want to control everything, you wanted this and that, you know, and I'm just like, okay, there's no point in changing his school if you're just going to pick random school that requires us to, you know, drive him there and yeah. So anyway, like that.
Okay. So to me, what I hear is the dance that existed between the two of you when you were living together and you were actually, you know, in the same house.
It's the same. Yeah, same.
So the battle here is.
No, he's worse. He's worse now. Sorry, it's much worse. But
Okay.
you know,
well, that's part of what I wanted to bring up too, right? Because you're going through a divorce.
So everything's going to be.
So everything's
exacerbated.
It's going to be exacerbated, especially on the part of your husband, right? Because he's reaching for any type of control he can have.
Right.
You know this, and he's done this since you've been separated because he still makes attempts to control your psyche and your mood and emotions around everything that's taking place, right? So this is no different. It's a reach for control. Okay. Right. So it's not even really about the children.
Which is what I brought it up for, is to be about the children, not trying to control anything.
Right. So what the only thing I'm saying, the reason I'm saying it this way is the resolution in terms of you need to move past, and I think we've kind of talked about this. You have to move past the fact that you're going to be able to reconcile anything with your husband reasonably.
Yeah.
Right. See, you're being thoughtful and considerate of your children, right? You're considering, oh, if they're down the street, they can have friends.
Right. And like most kids go to school in their school district. Yeah. Like that's just.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, I know.
Normal
yeah.
stuff.
I mean, that's so you know, it's so to me, when I hear you talk about this specific thing, it's your husband's just trying to go against everything that would make anything make rational sense.
Exactly. That's exactly what I feel like.
Make it hard for you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because it's the same thing he's been doing though. Yeah. So I'm saying you're not going to be able to make a connection with him around this specific topic, right? That's going to be rational because your husband's not trying to be rational. He's trying to be.
So what's the approach to accomplish the goal? You know, how do you negotiate, navigate, whatever? That's my question. I mean, this is the situation I'm in. I can only speak the rational thoughts that I'm capable of having. And if he can't receive them, I'm just get frustrated. And I said, and he ends up doing all these.
In a healthy relationship where you got two healthy people who are mature, you can negotiate. You can negotiate.
I know.
Right? Everything's negotiable. That's how it is in a relationship. Anything other than, that is, could be considered controlling, right? However, in this situation, because of the person that you're dealing with, I feel like you're just going to have a firm boundary around what you feel is best for the kids. There's nothing wrong with them going to school in their school district. Their friends are in the neighborhood, and you just making the chief decision, like, this is where the kids are, this is where, he's going to go to school this year. It may work, it may not. Let's see how it goes. And if it doesn't work out, we can revisit that. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I would do. That's what I would do.
You would just take control and do it?
Yep. That's what I would do.
In light of somebody that accuses you of being a controlling person, and he's got to actually take them there. I mean, he's got to actually facilitate getting them to school. It's not like,
it's either you do that or you bow down to whatever he decides. And I mean, school's starting here, like in just a couple of weeks.
I know. Well, it hasn't happened because, he's been so cantankerous. I haven't wanted to bring it up. And then when I did bring it up finally, because it was getting closer, then, it didn't go well. And we kind of stopped talking about it again.
Like Ned said, he wants to make it harder for you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's what you're dealing with. And it's like, you don't want to keep taking the bait and just like draining yourself energetically. You know what I'm saying?
I know. Well, I shut the conversation down. I said, I can't have I said, we can't have a productive, rational conversation. I'm sorry, because, and I say, I'm sorry because he can't, and I was trying to work, and then I just was like, all right, I'm not going here, because he starts, just, I don't know how, what it is. It's that like picking about every little thing and accusing me of this and that in the midst of I'm trying to just explain my point, and it's like he doesn't get the point, and he starts throwing out all these things that aren't trying to accomplish the goal, and then
it becomes something
and then I'm just like, all right, I gotta work now. We're totally not being productive, and I'm just gonna ignore you.
Well, it's always
and it will probably just keep being like that until you just
it's his attempt at control though, right? It's a conversation with your husband sounds like to me like this is what we want to talk about, but as you have the conversation, you move further and further away from what you want to talk about, because that's a distraction to keep you in the headspace where you're just like, I can't do this with you, right? Exhausted, tired. And that's a form of controlling you also, right? Kind of keeping your eyes off the prize, which is, the health and well-being of your children and their relationships with the friends and
it keeps me from getting my work done so that I can have a job, unlike him who doesn't have a job, and I don't know what's going on with his, finances. But you know what I mean? Like I'm supposed to work.
Ultimately, does it come down to you making that decision?
I don't know. We've always made it together. I mean, I don't know who makes it.
Okay.
But
at some point, someone is going to have to pull the trigger on what's going to happen. So I'm saying how.
It's either you choose to let him go into school in the school district, and
Well, somebody would have to do something to make that happen at this point, because they've been going to a private school, and that's where they're expecting both of them to show up, and I would have to get him registered. I'd have to get him registered at the public school or whatever that entails. Right. I don't know exactly. Yeah. I haven't done anything. I didn't figure, but it probably takes a little bit of doing.
Okay. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to ask, Jen, is I know it's important that your son be happy with his school. Okay. And it sounds to me like he doesn't have many friends in his locale at home because he's not in the district attending school.
He knows just like one or two that are close by, but we're in a pretty big neighborhood. And when I see the kids get off the bus, I'm like, hey, there's kids, lots of kids your age, and why don't you go meet them? And he won't just go ride his bike and go,
That was,
Does he want to change schools? Is he?
Well, he says he hates his school. Yes. I mean, he's the one that expressed this. He said, I hate my school. Blah, blah, blah. And I said, Corbin, do you have any friends, there? And I was trying because the thing that he loves the most right now is this Bible study I started taking him to on Friday nights. And it's because there's a group of families with kids and he plays with the kids and he's so looking forward to playing with the kids every Friday. That's like his most exciting thing for the week.
right.
And the only, so I see that, and he's a completely different child when he's there. The really angry,
So-
like
so I have
bratty
a-
one, it goes away, and he's like a nice kid, and so I'm like, that's what he's not happy.
yeah. So I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it really that he hates the school? Or is there something?
The school does not lend itself for him very well to have meaningful relationships and friendships that he can. Partly the class is very small, and at least half of it is got autism or something of that sort, that he as a normal social peer, it's challenging. And he already has a brother that he would love to engage more, who is also challenging. And so he's just, he's often feeling like he's got to struggle to try to have relationships with people, and he just wants to have some friends that like to
because
be
they're on a-
friends. You know what I mean?
They're on a spectrum that he is.
Yes, exactly. So
Okay. I think it would be good for him to go to,
yeah, no, it definitely would. It would definitely be good for him to go to some other school. That school was the best thought I had, just because of the obvious benefit of the kids being already here in the neighborhood. When I was a kid, I just rode my bike when I got home from school and played with my friends, and my mom didn't have to like, oh, hey, I coordinated with so-and-so and we're gonna, because I'm working when he gets home. So, I mean, at least half the days when he comes home here, he'll have friends to play with. My husband's living in an apartment. He's not going to have friends there no matter what.
So to me, when I hear you say what you're saying, it makes rational sense and common sense too.
Yes.
For you to actually have the child in the locale, in the district, and to,
exactly. And
especially in light of the fact that he's not on a spectrum of autism,
right.
and to remove him from that environment and put him in around a setting and group of kids that is more on the spectrum that he is.
And in his school district.
Yeah. So
Yes.
that sounds reasonable to me. Now, the other part of this is like you wanting to convince your husband, right? I don't think you're going to be able to do that.
I know, but you know what you said? You said that like, I can't think that I'm right, but the things that I'm trying to convince him I'm right are so obviously
All right. Well,
right.
what I'm saying is I don't feel like you
But
have
you're
to.
not dealing with a rational,
Yeah.
mature
I don't feel like
person.
I don't
so
feel
it's
like you have
different.
to, right. I don't feel like you
different.
have to waste your time trying to convince him about something if he were thinking rationally and he was
No.
really considering the health and well-being of the children first.
Yeah, no,
We wouldn't
I
have an
agree.
argument. But what
I
I'm
agree.
saying is that's not who you're dealing with. So the children live with you.
Yeah.
No, I mean, just that's just,
They don't reside at your home where you live now.
that is still being worked out. That's not the ultimate plan. No, that's being worked out. They're here mostly with me now because that's the way I've demanded.
Okay.
Because I mean, and they want to be here, but he's not okay with that. When we get our parenting plan, he's already insisted that he have them 50% of the overnights. So that will be changing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they still
that was
have
not
to,
what I wanted, but yeah.
they can't switch schools every other week though, is my whole point. So
No,
and-
they can't switch schools every other week, and he can drive, he can drive them no problem to any. So we're right near. I mean, we live like 5 minutes from each other.
okay. So I mean, you and your husband live 5 minutes from each other?
About 5 or 10, maybe 10.
Well, then anything
that-
he's saying is ridiculous.
I know. That's what I said. Anything he's saying is ridiculous. He's just being ridiculous for the sake of being ridiculous.
And you just need to make a decision. Take your son out of the school, go register him, and your husband will just have to get over it.
Yeah.
Period. That's it.
This is what you're just going to have to start making these types of
Decisions.
decisions and types of moves for the health of your children. Okay, there's no need in trying to argue with your husband, right? He's not in the space where he's gonna want to be rational and just consider, the health and well-being of everyone, right? What's the best for everyone? That's not the space he's in. He's in a headspace of trying to make things difficult for you.
That's just ridiculous.
So I'm just saying and right now the advantage you have is that the kids do spend most of the time with you. So you can make the decision that's best for your son right now to put him in the public school down the street. And it's most advantageous for him because he also is in a setting where he can develop friendships and relationships in the neighborhood with kids.
And you live in a nice neighborhood.
And
he lives in an apartment, 2 totally different environments.
I know. I mean, we bought this house in this neighborhood for this reason. He resents this being their home in his mind because he doesn't want this to be his home. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I did have another question that was just about a conversation that we had. I'm not going to relay the conversation, but he asked me a question that I planned to answer, but I didn't have time. So I said, I'll answer later. And then he said, it was a rhetorical question. There is no difference, blah, 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 blah. And so I was like, okay, well, I had no idea it was a rhetorical question, but and I said, please don't, ask me questions that you don't really want to know my thoughts on. And he said, no, now I really do want to know what you think about that. And so I've debated. I didn't think I should answer that question based on Monika saying she doesn't answer rhetorical questions. And I'm like, well, if it was a rhetorical question when it started, why does he all of a sudden now think it's a real question and really wants to know? So I haven't given it priority of my time. Good. And I haven't answered him. And for 2 days, and he's like, are you ever going to answer this question? I really want to know. And I said, why is it that you want to know? He said, I really want to know your thoughts. And I'm just like, is this a trap?
Yeah.
Or
it is.
Okay. I think it's a trap too. And I'm trying to
hook you. He's trying to hook you, and that's what they do.
So that when I give him an answer, then he can rip apart why what I'm saying is invalid, because he doesn't think that there is any difference. And it's not even anything consequential. That's the thing. It's about like the difference between them being homeschooled, going to school, or having a babysitter while I'm working. That's what he's saying. There's no difference. Either way, you're working, and I'm just like, no, there is a difference.
Yeah. I wouldn't answer that question.
It doesn't relate to anything that we need to resolve. So that's why I feel like I'm not going to answer that. Right.
I wouldn't even entertain
And Mary said, don't answer.
I wouldn't even entertain it.
Yeah. I would not engage. Yeah. I would ignore him, and I would not put any of your.
In fact, he's asked me several times, when am I going to answer this question? So that's why I'm like, usually if I ignore him,
you can
just say, don't reply.
Yeah.
Just silence. Silence is the answer.
Or you could just say, I'm not. I mean, if you want him to stop, but
he's just going to
keep engaging you, anything you do, then remember we talked about this,
I'm not going to.
Jan says the 12th of never.
Yeah, so
it's related. I mean, it's related. It came out of the conversation trying to get some resolution on a parenting plan and school and what the kids are doing for school. These are all kind of intertwined, coming up with our schedule and that. So it came out of something that we still need to resolve. That's why I didn't know if I needed to address it, but I'm like, I really don't think that matters anything.
He's going to use it to be abusive and pick it apart,
right?
Be a jerk and all that stuff. And you're going to be like, going into one of the moments.
I'm not going to just feel understood and feel like, okay, now you understand me. Now we're getting some progress, right?
No.
That's in La La Land.
That's
that's La La Land. Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So I always tell you, use that energy to focus on yourself and your kids.
And go register your baby at school and let him start at his new school.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try and I'll let him know maybe that I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And
I would just do it and then let him know.
Well, I might just go see what's involved in doing it, and then what kind of time frame, and I can let him know we need to do it by this date if we're going to do it. So, something like that. He's supposedly researching all the schools, and I'm like, I don't care if you research all the schools. That wasn't the point. I don't need to research all the schools.
Yeah. So, Yeah, it's basically just you're gonna withdraw him from his private school and enroll him in the new school, and it takes all of like 30 minutes. It's like
Okay.
it's really a short process.
So
So,
well, we might have to get some shots or something. I don't know. Anyway.
and not with a religious waiver.
Oh,
If you
we
don't
have
want
that.
to. Totally
Yeah,
up to
we
you.
have that. So okay. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
And
Hang in there.
And don't worry about being supported. We're gonna remember you can reach out to us, Jen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I like having these calls, whether you take the time to talk to me or not. I just like having the community. I feel like I'm not alone here, and so I was like wanting to be able to continue, but I can't do that. I can't do that for confidentiality reasons, she says, or something. And I would like to. And I'm so hopeful in seeing the other couples that are making progress. You know, I want to see
everyone eventually moves over to the graduate group, and everyone over there is awesome. And there are still monthly coaching calls that Monika does. You know, and we could even, you know,
like I said we would try to
think about maybe adding a call.
That, and we would try to engage more in that group.
I mean, I am always engaging in that group because a lot of my clients are over there and who I love. So, I mean, it's everyone eventually will be over there. So you'll see everyone.
Yeah.
You'll see.
Yeah, I want to celebrate as they're having their miracles. That's all. Because I'm praying for them.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you for sharing.
Anyone have anything to add for Jen? Guys?
Yeah. Does anyone have anything to add for Jen?
I see some chats from everyone. Mary says, never answer the question. Jan's, Marlene says, don't answer it. Jan, like Marlene, boundaries, big time. Nothing else will change the dynamic.
Yeah.
The 12th of never. Be solid for the kids.
Yeah.
Put your big girl pants on and do it. That's what Mark and Mary, is that Marlene or Mark and Mary? And that was Marlene.
Yeah.
She says, put your big girl pants on and do it. Keep the focus on what's best for the kids. Be clear and express that with boundaries. No need to convince.
Yeah.
Know what you say and stay grounded. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you, Jen.
Stand in your conviction and your mamahood.
Jenny, you have something you want to share?
Yeah, I was just thinking about you, Jen, because, you know, I came from a strong faith background myself, you know, and I know that when we're in a covenant relationship, we're very much taught, you know, to do everything together and even to defer to our husbands. But you're not in covenant anymore, you know, by his choice, not your own. Yeah. And so it is a big emotional shift to have to now rise up in your own authority, your own leadership, and make these hard decisions. And I know it probably could feel really weird to your soul to be making that transition. But, you know, he chose to undo the covenant, not you. And now you do stand alone before God on behalf of your own children's welfare. And their well-being is in your hands, you know, and I mean, there are obviously mediators and judges who can help in these situations if an impasse is reached and you just can't get your husband to do what's right for your children. A judge can help decide that and intervene. But while you do have a little bit of liberty these weeks and the children are under your roof, you don't need to confer in the same way that you used to, you know what I mean? I wish that there was a way for you to have that kind of healthy relationship, but you're learning to develop it on your own so that when, you know, in the future, if you ever want to be married again, you'll be able to have the kind of relationship where you will be able to negotiate and you will have to give up some of the things that you think are right and all of that.
I wish I could be practicing that with somebody healthily.
I feel that.
I mean, it really frustrates me.
I feel that in your heart. I can tell you want to be doing that work now. And so like, I was thinking with you about like, you know, this is where you can start to do this work in, you know, business partnerships and close friendships. You know, there's other relationships in your life now where there is a mutual commitment to the relationship. And that's the place where you can start to practice these skills. But to try to practice them with a man who is unwilling to equally show up in the relationship and do equal work, you know, you're starting, I can feel you're starting to rise above his games. You're starting to see his games for what they are. And that's huge. The fact that you're starting to have clear eyes about the games and not be played anymore, you know. But the skills you're learning from Monika and from Ned and Kelly, you know, they have to be used only with healthy people. The rules of the game that your husband is playing, he's playing according to a game that there are no rules. So if you try to use these skills there, it's just always going to burn you. If you use these skills with people who are willing to practice by these rules too, you're going to start to build confidence in yourself. And then you'll have those skills with your children, and you'll have those skills if God brings you another man into your life. But my heart really goes out to you, because I know this is just a really emotional transition. And that you, up till this point, were in the place of fighting for your marriage. And now you're having to do all of this mental shift. So I'm just sending you a huge hug, and like I hope you feel all of us, like we're all just standing with you in, you know, your journey.
Yep.
I do. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. That was so amazing what you said. I could not have said it better. Yes to everything you just said.
I did want to tell you, I forgot that when I tried to explain to him some of the losing strategies he was using in the conversation, and just basically saying, like, could you please stop doing that? The whole like telling me what I'm thinking and why I'm doing something or why I want something. I'm just like, I am perfectly capable of expressing my own thoughts and feelings to you anytime you want me to. So please don't feel the need to tell me those things from your head, you know, whatever. And I said that it was a losing strategy, and that if he cared to, you know, get healthier ways of doing things, that those videos from Monika's program are available to him anytime. And his response was, oh, and I said, I'm sure that you would benefit from it, or I guarantee you'd benefit from it personally. And he said, oh, I'm sure I will. I think I'll do it with my next wife. So anyway,
another slight, another.
So maybe you'll get to, no, actually, he's just going to listen to videos, not the program, because he won't pay for it, I'm sure. But.
Yeah, and I think that's just a reflection of exactly what we're talking about, Jen. Like, his attitude and his heart towards you is not one of love. And so when you try to reach out with any kind of tool or resource, it's never going to be met with a generous spirit. It's never going to be met with gratitude. And honestly, to protect yourself, I would encourage you not to give him any tools or resources, because it's always just a slap back in your face, and you deserve better than that. You deserve better than that, you know? So I'm happy for you to be free of this, you know, distortion. And I'm so excited to see the work that you're doing, because you're going to set yourself up to have a healthy, godly man in your life, you know, and that's so what you deserve.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You'll be able to practice this stuff with, use these skills with, and grow with, you know.
But we do, like Jenny said, there is congratulations due to you, because you are emerging. You are really starting to flourish and grow, and actually.
I know, just starting.
Really important.
Starting. That's why I'm like, I don't think I'm ready to graduate. I think I need the extra long program.
I know.
I'm a little slow.
No, it's not. No, it's not about you being slow. There's trauma associated with what you're going through.
Yeah, I know.
There's a lot you're dealing with mentally and psychically. So that, and you know, spiritually, you know, so there's a lot there for you to unpack and deal with. So this has nothing to do with speed. Okay. You know, you're on your journey, and we're just saying we back you 100%. We're here for you, and we really acknowledge when you are making really great strides forward for yourself. It's really important, you know. You've done a really great job.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you, Jenny. That was really powerful.
Yes, Jenny.
It was really awesome.
Maybe Jenny can be my new coach.
I always forgive me, because I always forget when I log in here to take off the coach part. So I'm sorry, you guys.
Oh, no, it's all good.
That's why they call you Coach Jenny.
That's why you Coach Jenny. Yeah, that was awesome. That was really
oh, would it be okay if I share next? Because I'm going to have to go in just a few minutes.
Yeah, okay? Definitely.
But I just want to celebrate, first of all, Valentine and I have had, I'm sure Monika caught you up, but like, after 2 miscarriages, I fell and broke my foot. I feel like sometimes when we're in low energy, we're vulnerable to other things happening. And so I'm now recovering from that. And then 3 days ago, we thought we might be pregnant again. And so we spent the last 72 hours going through that. Oh, wow. And luckily I'm not pregnant again. I'm not ready for that. But it was just lag over from the miscarriage. So, but it was another emotional roller coaster. It was like very emotionally charged to see a positive pregnancy test after losing 2 babies so recently.
Yeah.
And then we were worried because I've been on, opioids for my foot, and I went under anesthesia and had x-rays. And so we were really thinking, oh my gosh, if we prevented pregnancy, if we're pregnant, like we're really worried for this baby, So we're relieved to find out yesterday, late last night, that we're not pregnant. But I'm really proud of us, because through all of this, though we're both still kind of shaking inside from another round of craziness, we're still having really good positive to negative interactions with each other. There's just a lot of harmony between us right now.
That's awesome.
And so I'm feeling really really encouraged and celebrating just, the progress that we're making. And it's been a little discouraging because like Valentine's struggling to keep up with the homework, because between all this, this stuff is hard on him emotionally. He's tender enough that each one of these rounds of chaos, he needs time to recover from. Yeah. And then we bought the house, and we're about to start a remodel project in the middle of all this, thinking when we bought the house that we were pregnant and that we wouldn't have all this medical stuff on our plate anymore, Yeah. So I'm kind of plowing through the homework because my workload is lighter right now. He's a little bit more behind on the homework than I am. And I'm really eager for us to try to be caught up, because I want us to be doing kind of phase 2 together, But the material is just awesome, and it's keeping me very inspired. Every day I'm trying to listen to the audios and re-listen to the audios, and then be prepared to do homework, with him when he catches up. So that's all celebration, that's all really celebration. I think I think like my biggest discovery in the last 2 weeks for me, listening to all the materials, I was just kind of hit square between the eyes. Like I thought about Gudrun, who posted on Facebook about kind of her revelation about her pattern. And I think for me, like the biggest revelation I've had recently is that like, I just have never, ever learned how to give healthy feedback. And so as a result of that, I actually give the most feedback to Valentine. I feel the safest with Valentine. Yeah. And I just wasn't doing it as well as I could have. And so I'm learning how to do it better with him. But what I realized is, apart from him, I've never felt safe enough in any relationship to give feedback to anybody. Yeah. I do it with my clients in my business just fine, because I'm the one in control. I'm the one that sets the container and the boundaries, and I have a say about how everything goes down. But with friends, with my birth family, with my extended family, I realized that I am walking around with a massive backlog of pain because I just never learned how to engage. And I'm feeling like, first, the grief of just like the realization of what this has cost me, the lack of intimacy, the lack of depth of friendship, the loneliness that I faced, because the way that I survived in my home as a child was I had a very angry stepdad, and I just learned to stay poker face. In order to stay safe, I always presented myself as a very stable, strong adult, even as a little child. And I mediated between him and my mom. So I had to always cover up the vulnerability of my own soul in order to help me feel like I was keeping myself not vulnerable in front of him.
Yeah.
And I realized that I don't do it in the same way today, but I do it in a very similar way today. So if a friend hurts my feelings, I just poker face. And then when I have taken the risk a couple times in the last 2 years with my family to draw some boundaries or to speak up, I mean, the ramifications were outlandish and not in a good way. And so it's just been a really interesting season and a really big realization. I think that the roadblock I'm reaching that I wondered if you guys could help with is that the child part of me is still so terrified about this feedback that, like, just as an example, I'm co-coaching with a friend here in town. We're looking at launching a women's journey here locally in Santa Barbara. And so she's a therapist, I'm a coach. We said, let's start out by first getting to know each other's modalities. I'll hold space for you, you hold space for me. Let's do that for a month. And then if we like what we see, we'll pilot something. Yeah. And I realized that I needed to bring up something that she had said once to me. that had really hurt my feelings. And I thought, oh, this is perfect. Like she and I even co-created a commitment that we're going to practice feedback with each other.
Yeah.
And I had this perfect chance with this woman who is like trained as a therapist and is proving herself at least to be a very good friend even. And I totally chickened out even giving feedback to her last night. Yeah. And I just realized like my nervous system is literally terrified. And so I wondered if you guys have any thoughts about like how I can, I mean, I'm just kind of like, I'm so courageous in some areas. And then in others, like, what the heck? Like, I am the biggest chicken. And so, but I need to get really good at this really fast, I feel like, because I just don't want to suffer this way anymore. I want to be known. I want to share when I get my feelings hurt. I want to stop feeling so lonely in life in general, you know?
Yeah.
So.
And for me, when I hear you, I dealt with something similar prior to us actually starting our our business relationship business, and that was, you know, I told Kelly, you know, I just want to be in the backdrop. You know, I'll just you know, you lead the way, and I'll support here, and I'll do these things, and all that kind of stuff. And what I was doing was not facing my fear of teaching what I'd learned in terms of my growth, my personal growth, and helping people. And so what I had to do was for me to transition from that place of fear, I made it about my clients and how important it was that I show up for them, not me. And that's what began to, my service, these people needed me. And so that was the thing that began to remove the barrier, because it's like it felt like to me when I see someone out in the ocean and they need a life preserver, and I'm standing there holding it and I'm just looking at them.
Well, and I'll tell you this, Ned. So like I know exactly what you're talking about. And I've been able to take that risk with my clients. Like I'm utterly vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I feel completely safe doing it. For some reason, it's not transferring to my mutual relationships. And there's like a terror, because it does feel like now it is about me. Like when I have to do it for my client, I absolutely can overcome my fear.
Okay, so
that's what I was going to ask like, you. How is it when you said when we started our business?
Yeah.
How did that relate to me in terms of feedback? Because she's asking about the feedback and needing to give her potential business partner.
Right, but what I'm saying, so for you, that's what I associated the comment with, is what you didn't do with your partner, not everything else with your friends. Because when I listen to you, the only way that I feel like you're going to be able to deal with family members and friends of that nature, there's something in terms of your value, and you're something solid within yourself that is not allowing you to do that. And I would really think about you. I think you have a good enough background about your childhood to start looking at some of the challenges that created for you by being poker face, right? To see, you have to ask yourself, how is that really serving you now?
Yeah. Oh, I know it's not. And in fact, I'm like so clear on what it's costing me. Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out how to sort of baby step my soul into this new way of relating. And the closest thing I've come to a plan so far is that like, I'm letting myself practice getting really good at feedback with Valentine. So like I said, I've given feedback. I just haven't always done it in a healthy way. Now I'm really practicing getting good at it with him, hoping that that'll convince my soul that I'm not going to lose relationship. I think that's the fear, is like, I have this deep fear because in the past, when I have spoken up with my family and I have shared what has bothered me, I didn't know how to do it very well, first of all. So when I did do it, it was sort of blundery, right? But then it led to a lot of severing. And so it really scared me, you know?
Especially, and family, that shit just happens sometimes, especially when you put boundaries in place with people who don't like boundaries. They don't like it. So, but in terms of this relationship with your potential business partner, so y'all decided you're going to practice giving each other feedback? Like
literally. Yes.
Okay. Well, here's your opportunity, right? Like the door is So what kind of feedback are you supposed to be giving each other? Just any feedback?
We just talked about practicing, like if something like the last time we were together, she shared with me, hey, when you did this hurt me. And she asked permission, can I share something with you? Yeah. And it went so well. Like I was able to receive, hold space for her emotions, apologize. Okay. I felt like it was such a triumph. And that's why yesterday I wanted to give her feedback on this thing that she had done that hurt me. And I had like a wide open door and like even a template, and I still chickened out.
Well, I think that you could, and I mean, like, is there anything in the back of your mind, like feeling like, it's like what Ned said, like your worth and your value because she's like a therapist and you're a coach. Is there anything around that? Are you good there?
Is it
I think it was that like yesterday I was holding space for her. So I think I was also kind of tossing around in my head, like, is this the time to give feedback when I've just sort of been holding sacred space for her?
Okay.
So that was part of it, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you could let her know, like, you're so nervous to give her feedback, but you know that you guys are practicing this, and is this a good time for me to give you feedback? You could always, ask. I mean, one of the rules of the feedback wheel and that dialoguing process is to ask your partner, hey, is this a good time? I'd like to give you some feedback. So you could start with that frame.
The other thing though that I'm hearing you say, and
I feel like the more you practice, the better.
Yeah. And I think you working with balancing is really important.
Yeah.
I think that's a safe space for you to actually practice this so that you can gain the confidence to start experiencing this with other people. But I mean, it's gonna be a slow process for you to build that confidence and remove that fear, right? But for me, and Kelly and I have shared this, the hypnosis, because it works on the subconscious so well, that's where I really started to feel myself shift.
Okay.
Because the program is there, and sometimes, like you said, what I'm hearing you say, it's so deeply embedded. Consciously, it's hard for you to even go there because it elicits.
It's like your reptilian brain's like,
visceral fear, and this you kind of sweat when you think about it, right? So
not even sweat. Like I feel like my whole inner body just goes into this state of like constriction. It's crazy how strong it is.
You're gonna have to use a tool that's gonna be able to tap into that area without you consciously being, because you can't do it right now.
Which hypnosis?
They're over 1,300 hypnosis. Sure. So they have packages. There's one with confidence, but they depend if you're, for example, if it's fear, that you're experiencing, or you have to figure out where the fear is coming from and then correlate that with one of the hypnosis that correlates with either some of the emotions that you're experiencing so that you can work on that aspect of yourself and tackle that part of your psyche.
Well, I'm almost thinking, like, based on what you're telling me, so when we are alternating sharing services, me and this therapist, I literally could ask her to work with me and do EMDR with me on this topic.
That would be
awesome. I think that's a good idea, because I've been trying to push myself to take action, but I'm meeting with such a visceral response. And I don't want to be unkind. I'm trying to be very gentle with myself, because I know that this is it brings up such a fear of attachment, especially because the last couple of times when I did speak up, it did end in broken attachment. So I think that, the EMDR is something accessible. I could do that right away with her. And I'm curious if that would just turn down the volume a little bit on that reaction for me.
Well, Jenny, the self-hypnosis is even more accessible.
Okay.
You go to the website. It's called hypnosisdownloads.com.
Got it.
Yeah, you don't have to do it. Therapists.
It's self-hypnosis.
These are audios that you actually listen to.
And just go to the site and research it. It's an amazing company. The company is called Uncommon Knowledge, but hypnosisdownloads.com, and you type in fear, like, because they have a search, type in fear and then pick one that resonates most with you and start doing it.
Yeah, and the cool thing is the founders are therapists.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, they're psychotherapists. So
Awesome.
they've been doing this for over 20 years.
Yeah.
They're really awesome. It's real.
Okay, I was thinking you were thinking hypnotherapy, so sorry.
No,
And
self-hypnosis.
Got
the
it.
packs are like $15 each. They're really inexpensive.
Amazing.
And you can buy packages of them.
You can
Wonderful.
join and have a membership, and they have something called Audio Insights to talk.
Which are awesome.
It's
as a coach.
there's a wealth
that's
of
really
information.
awesome.
It's really awesome.
Yeah, no, that's huge.
Really
It was
good.
interesting because like, as I started to see all this clearly, you know, I've been in such grief around my extended family because the attachment issues in my family are huge. And so my extended family is kind of split in half right now, fighting each other. I'm sort of the one neutral party in between all this fighting. And I've had such grief over watching the drama going down. But then when I saw this, I realized, you know, how they always talk about your role in the family drama cycle.
Yep.
And even though it might appear like I'm the neutral one, I'm not. Like, I'm actually feeding this cycle by withholding my truth. And so it was a really big moment for me to see all this and really realize how much of the grief I've carried every day of my adult life could possibly shift. And it's still early on, so I still feel like I'm kind of still choked by all that grief. But like, I've always wrestled, kind of like Jen was saying, like, what, like, I just want to know what I'm doing wrong. Like, why do I not have more fulfillment? I have wonderful people in my life. Why do I not have more fulfillment in my relationships? And I really felt like this was the thing that was revealed to me. It's like, how can you stop feeling lonely if you never are known? And how can you be known if you never give feedback, right? So, but it just like, I mean, it's like such a simple thing. And yet I was like, wow, this really sabotaged all my relationships, my whole life.
Well, now you know.
And that's
you can do something about
and
it.
that's but again, like I said, it just make sure you go to that site. If you don't do anything else, visit
It's
that site.
awesome.
And you know, I'm just glad to hear you share your story, because you've been through so much, and you show so much strength and character and just your person, because it's just, you're powerful. And I hate to see that. It's almost that validation that you don't give yourself, that permission you don't give yourself to be strong within yourself. You shine for so many other people, and to see, it hurts my heart to see you do this and have to go through this experience. It really does. It really does.
It's interesting because it's like my power has always been outside of my family. And I found my power for the first time when I left home, really. And so now I feel like I shine my light to the whole world, you know, and with all my clients and with everything. And now I feel like kind of the universe and God are bringing me full circle and like helping me learn how to step up and shine my light in the place that's the scariest for me. You know?
Well, I definitely, you talk about this attachment with the family, and that was an issue for me for a really long time. And I ultimately had to separate myself, unfortunately. But what it allowed me to do was recalibrate. Okay. Because I had the space away from them not to deal with that, because it was so local. It was just too close. Right. And it was, I without separating myself from it physically, it was really difficult for me to deal with it emotionally and spiritually. So once I did do that, that's where I could really focus on myself without dealing with, all the other stuff that goes along with it. And that's where I found my power, and I found my voice, and I found my confidence. And so now I can engage everyone and feel perfectly fine. But it took that.
Thank you for sharing that, because I think we moved to California in part to give me a physical separation. They're all in Arizona, all 22 crazy, beautiful people. We're the ones that left. We're a wild, crazy Polish family, you know, and the distance helps for sure. But also I think I have like way overgiven in terms of trying to stay involved, stay connected, heal things, nurture things, mediate things. And I think like, I really felt like, you know, right now my priority is me and Valentine, and he is the one person that is fully willing and fully healthfully attached to me. And so he is my safe space to practice. And I just feel like you're right, Ned. Like, I think I need to just go very myopic and stop trying to disperse my energy so much.
Totally.
I know their hearts, they desire relationship, but they're also, thank God, all starting to finally do their own work.
Yes.
So I feel like if I can just kind of give them their space and take my space, that, maybe even in a year, we'll be in a better place to make some progress,
Yeah.
It's like you've got to heal your nervous system. You got to heal
and reframe it, Jenny.
that habituated fear.
Yeah, and reframe
Yes.
it. The reframe is, what you do for yourself in the way of your health actually serves to get your family health.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Healthy, because that's exactly what
Exactly.
you're doing. Otherwise, and what goes along with that, I know you're dealing with the guilt, right, around the attachments not being there, right? And don't buy into that. It's not a real thing. It's part of.
These are healthy boundaries.
Yeah,
for you.
it's part. The move is just uncomfortable because it's the narrative that lies behind the guilt, and that's not true. It's not true. You've been there for everyone. You've been there for everybody for a really long time.
Yeah.
You've tried to hold things together. You tried to be the bridge. Everyone has to do their part, though.
Yeah.
And your part, it's taken its toll on you. And now you have to take, leave from everyone and refill your cup.
Yeah. And heal yourself.
Heal yourself.
Heal yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's just, all it is just habituated fear. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the fear that's been sabotaging my body and even, risking these miscarriages. So I feel like there's an intensity to the invitation here for me of like, if I want to have this baby, I need to really, be able to heal this. So.
Yeah. And you can, just have to reprogram it.
Yeah. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it so much.
But don't beat yourself up. It's going to take some time because
I know how these things go. It's our most fragile work. These primal wounds are they're intense, but it's like, I feel like, I feel ready. I feel like it comes when we're ready. So.
Well, keep up the great work. You're doing awesome.
And
thank you guys so much.
Gloria says, yes, Jenny, try hypnosis. If your body shakes, don't be scared. It's releasing all the negative energy.
Awesome. Oh yeah. Amen.
I have a lot of clients and I'm putting the website address into.
Thank you, Kelly.
But yeah, I have a lot of clients when they start doing hypnosis, their bodies just will shake because they're just like, their bodies aren't used to doing the reprogramming work.
And if I can give you some advice, when you do start and you choose a particular track to start your process, don't give up on it.
Okay.
Don't think it's not doing anything.
Because it is.
Oh no, I know enough to know how this works. So I'm convinced already. So I really appreciate though. I appreciate a very strategic resource. So thank you guys so much. I'll check that out right away and start incorporating that into my morning routine.
Awesome.
You'll love it.
Thank you for sharing, Jenny.
Thank you guys. Thank you everyone. I'm going to have to slip away, but thank you everyone.
Okay.
Absolutely. All right. Gloria, you are up next.
Are you here, Gloria?
Let me see. Oh, she says, I can't, but thank you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool. All right. And Gloria, I saw that you reached out to me and I'm not ignoring you. I promise I will write you back. All right.
Is there anyone else who wants to contribute or say anything? Any revelations? No?
All right.
Okay. Well,
thank you everyone for
everyone
coming.
can pop on, show their face and say bye. How about that? Bye, Jan.
Yes.
Bye, Gloria.
Oh, Gloria is traveling.
Enjoy
Mexico.
Enjoy Mexico, Gloria. Bye, Mark. Bye, Corinne.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Jen.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, Marlene.
For those of you who will be on tomorrow.
My call's just ending. It was already over, but I had to. No. It was just my what do you call it? Zoom call, but I was in